President Biden's Health and Human Services Department is currently seeking feedback on the proposed World Health Organization Pandemic Preparedness Agreement. This agreement is frightening. It could seriously undermine America's national sovereignty, our free speech, and even human dignity. And the public comment period for this, on this proposed agreement, it's underway right now, but it ends on Monday, January 22nd, Monday. There's whole time for you to have your input. So we are asking you to step up to the plate and let your voice be known. If you would like to submit a comment expressing your concern, and this is the concern, this agreement is giving more power to an unelected, unaccountable international organization that literally threatens our national sovereignty, our free speech, our human dignity, and you have an opportunity to comment and to voice your opposition to this. You've got two options that we have available for you. You can visit frcaction.org/WHO. And of course, WHO stands for World Health Organizations. Again, that's frcaction.org/WHO, or you can simply text the word WHO to 67742 and do that, and it will direct you to the place where you can place a comment. And they have to respond to these. It just takes time for them to do all this, and we want them to hear from as many as possible. Well, joining me now to discuss this further is Travis Weber. He's a Vice President for Policy and Government Affairs at FRC. Travis, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you.
Thank you, Jody.
All right, let's, I don't know of anyone, and perhaps there is somebody, but I don't know of anyone who is more on top of this issue than you. You talk about it with great passion and great concern. So let me just toss it to you that way. What concerns you most about this effort by the World Health Organization?
Yeah, Jody, thank you for that question. I think what concerns me most is the subtle and hidden way that this effort will shift the balance of power worldwide in a significant way for our time. And I say that because there are times when the power shift, a worldwide power shift happens. We had one after the Holocaust, the creation of the United Nations, and various international agreements were entered into. And what if you notice what happens? There's a these are generated by, these happen at times when people understandably are focused on world events, a tragedy, difficulty. And if you look at our current circumstances, we had a worldwide pandemic that put many people into a position of saying, well, what should I do about it? So it's a good intention. However, the problem is that on the back of that good intention come actors without such good intentions, or those seeking to capitalize on, manipulate, and take advantage of the current circumstances. And we believe that what is happening now is a change of power, a balance of power shift in which actors will enter and seek to get their piece of the pie, so to speak, and aggregate power globally and get themselves a share of that power globally. Now, in this instance, it's happening through the consolidation of power into a World Health Organization directed international agreement. And what's concerning about that is the language in the agreement. There's a lot of requirements and a lot of language that will obligate national nations, sovereign nations, to not anymore conduct their affairs sovereignly, but rather abide by internationally governed, World Health Organization governed agreements. It sets a precedent, it's dangerous, and there will be the pressure of a mass the groupthink, right? When you have nations coming around this, it will be difficult for nations to stand against it. So the power shift is what is concerning about this matter that we're addressing, and we encourage folks to make their concerns known to our government, which is currently participating in this negotiating process. And folks can do that at the link that you mentioned, Jody.
So we're not really, from what you're talking about, this is not about world health oversight. This appears to me, from what I'm hearing, there's a greater goal in this of really eliminating national sovereignty. What would you say is, in your estimation, the ultimate goal in WHO doing all of this?
So on the surface, it's about health. The text of the treaty, they're trying to say that they're trying to address, the next pandemic that happens or the next world health emergency. The problem with that is what's not in the text of the treaty, what's not being explicitly recognized and discussed. And that is the power shift that I just mentioned. And so they're using, again, piggybacking on an understandable point of concern, because who's against good health? I mean, no one's against good health. The question is, what do you mean by that? And what are you doing to achieve good health? And what else is happening at that time? And so they're using this good aim that everyone will agree upon to implement a change that will result in abuse and manipulation by those who want to benefit and capitalize on this trend towards world power that will occur if this treaty and this agreement is finalized and implemented and acted upon. And it will set a precedent for further such world events, whether they concern health or something else.
Well, you and your government affairs colleagues, you speak with members of Congress, you speak with their staff all the time. I'm curious as to the level of awareness that members of Congress and their staff have as it relates to the danger of this agreement. How would you make that assessment?
Yeah, I think there's not enough awareness overall. Some are focused on this, but we need more. And look, it's understandable. People are generally naturally initially focused in their local communities. We all are. So we naturally look at what's around us, what affects our neighbors, ourselves, and our communities and localities. And that's, our local communities are not disconnected from the national trends and international trends. So I want to recognize this pressure and this reality. However, this is very dangerous, this agreement that we're discussing here, and it will ultimately affect one's local community. Even, if you take the issue of the funds used to support this, where are they coming from? They're coming from the nations of the world, and the U.S. has a big share to pay to the WHO, and that's supported by the average American taxpayer. Do they know where their funds are going? Do they know what they're being used for? Very concerning, because there's a lot of darkness around this process. We don't have a lot of light and transparency on the flow of funds from the average taxpayer who's working hard to support their family and get by, the flow of those funds into our national coffers and into the international coffers. So, Jody, I think for these reasons, every member of Congress should be concerned about this. Every American should be concerned about this, because we're all, our resources are being used to do what's happening now in this negotiating process in the lead up to May of 2024, when the text will be considered in a final stage.
Travis Weber, thank you so much for bringing this information and for staying on top of this and so many other issues that you stay on top of. We're grateful for all you do. Thanks for joining us on Washington Watch.